Hello, and the warmest of welcomes to this afternoon's iOB business webinar. It's a pleasure to have you on here. Okay, now today's discussion is breaking into digital marketing at any age. Okay, it's an incredible topic, something that we love talking about, and something that's so important that we cover with you today. Okay, so for those of you that have not seen me before, my name is Ben, and I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business. Okay, and I'll be presenting today's webinar to you today. Okay, now, if this is also your first time, a little bit about how these webinars run, okay? So we dive into a quick introduction with myself. Once again, my name is Ben. Very shortly, we're going to be diving into today's presentation. Now, throughout today's presentation, we're going to cover three topics, as we always do. And in between each topic, you're going to get a little moment to take down any notes and jot down any questions that you might have for us, okay? Which leads us nicely onto the fact that we have a Q&A session at the end of today's session for you. Again, as we always do, it's important that we answer your questions. There's always things burning in these wonderful minds, and it's very, very important that we give you the opportunity to answer these questions or get an answer for these questions. Okay, now, whilst we get set up for today's webinar, whilst we're waiting for everybody to join us, we're just approaching 2 o'clock kickoff time here. Okay, it's lovely to see so many familiar faces on today. Always a pleasure to see you, and of course, a massive pleasure as well to see so many new faces on with us today. It's a real pleasure. Okay, so I'm just going to get us set up on today's session. Now, what we're going to do is a little bit of a test, if you don't mind, right before we kick off. If you could please do me a huge favor and let me know that you can hear my voice okay, and that you can indeed see the screen okay. So I've went ahead and switched off my camera there so that you can focus on the screen. And if you can see the screen okay, please just give me a thumbs up, type yes in the chat box, let me know that you're all good to go. And please just do a little confirmation there to let me know that you can hear my voice okay as well. All right, perfect. Looks like we are good to get kicked off then. Okay, so once again, today's discussion, breaking into digital marketing at any age. Why? Because this is one of the biggest questions that we get asked. It's one of the biggest things that we discuss on a regular basis. Am I too young? Am I too old? I don't have enough experience. I don't know. Is this something that I can really pick up? And the answer to that is, if you desire to get into digital marketing, if you desire to be a part of the digital industry, it is something that with the right education, the right resources, and the right support, you can absolutely do. Okay, so breaking into digital marketing at any age is today's conversation. Now, your presenter today is myself. My name is Ben, and I'm a business coach, and I'm also the resident business coach here at iOB Business. Okay, now my specialty is in working with small businesses and helping them to achieve stability and growth. So I feel and believe that I am well suited to be discussing this topic with you wonderful people on today's session. And once again, any questions that you might have, there's a gray Q&A box at the bottom of your screen there. You're absolutely more than welcome to ask away. Okay. Today's session, we're going to cover three topics. Number one, digital marketing is surpassing older methods of marketing. We're going to cover what these older methods are throughout topic number one. Number two, we're going to discuss the fact that skill has nothing to do with age. As a business coach and just as a human being, I can see the versatility, the evolution, the incredible things that are happening in today's business world and today's digital marketing world. Some amazing things are happening. And it is so important that we stop correlating skill and age. Okay, and life experience plays a role in business. Now, experience is the one thing that you can't exchange. Skill and experience are two separate things. Okay, so beginning with topic number one for today's session, digital marketing is surpassing older methods of marketing. So let's cover with you what some of those are. Okay, social media platforms. Let's just run through what these are for a moment. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. Okay, they are some of the biggest names in social media and search engines today. Okay, now social media platforms are continuing to multiply in count and popularity. Okay, now there are billions of users across the globe using these various social media platforms in various ways. Okay, now this hasn't happened by coincidence. It's happened because social media connects us to the rest of the world. It's now possible to message a friend that you have in New Zealand. And 10, 15 years ago, we couldn't have even thought of this concept. It would have been so crazy. You would have had to send a letter or potentially look at a long distance phone call, email, something like that. Okay. Now, the reason that social media platforms are continuing to multiply and count, there are more social media platforms coming out. There are more search engines coming out as we speak. Okay, not only this, user count is also growing. Okay, every day you'll see social media platforms change in the user count that they have. That's because people are becoming interested, people are looking at new ways to live their lives. Okay, the digital world, whether we like it or not, is a massive part of today's world and today's business. Okay, popularity, of course, it goes without saying, it has a massive say and a massive sway in the reason that people use these platforms. Okay, so one of the first signs was email marketing overtaking traditional mail. Now, if I take you back perhaps 15, 20 years, okay, there can't really be a specific time frame on when this transition happened, but you'll be familiar. If you're over the age of say 20, you'll remember a lot of a lot of mail marketing coming through your door. Okay, perhaps even some that are younger. I know that we have a vast diversity of age groups on here, which is why it is so important that we get this message across. Okay, now what happens is these letters come through the door today, and often they get ignored, they get chucked in the bin, they get put in the recycling. Now, that's not to say that some businesses still don't try this sort of conventional method of, typical mail marketing. It might be you see a brochure come through the door, maybe it's a menu for a takeaway shop, maybe it's promotion of gardening services, things like that. Okay, now it's not to say that this form of marketing has died, because truly it hasn't. It's still very much alive and well, but the percentage of people using averages here, and there are no statistics based, nothing that I've picked up, but just using what I understand and what I'm sure you will understand from today's world, today's knowledge, there's very, very few people who take these flyers, take these letters, and actually put them up on the fridge or put them on the on the cork board and say, that's great, we're going to speak to them. Okay. Now, not only is this technically more difficult, it's more time consuming because somebody has to deliver the mail, personally, whether it's the postman, whether it's somebody who's been employed just for that purpose. Additionally, there's of course the cost of paper, cost of printing, the impact on the environment. Okay. Now, all of these things aside, it's simply less effective than email marketing. Why? Because it cannot happen as quickly. A company can send you 2 to 3 emails a day. They shouldn't, but if they wish to do this through their marketing channels, they can, okay, as long as you've given permission. Now, if you imagine how many emails you get on a daily basis, I'd imagine that will be a massive multiplier versus that you get through traditional mail through your door. Okay, so one of the first signs, if I take you right back, email marketing. Okay, now there's various forms. Email marketing is becoming more intelligent. Email first came around a little while ago. Specialized email marketing, slightly more recent, perhaps, within the last 10 years, maybe a little bit more than that. Okay, but there are various forms of email marketing available today that have began to overtake the more traditional forms of mail marketing. Okay, so this is a great example to use. How is the world becoming more digital? Well, let's use number 101. Okay, example 1, ground zero. Digital email has overtaken traditional mail. Okay, it's more popular, it's more common, and most of the time it's more cost effective as well. So a business without a website doesn't exist in the eye of many. Now, again, this is going on us as human beings. This is going on us in a social development, social impact, okay, on a social level. Think about the last time that you were looking to find information about a business. Perhaps it was something that you saw on a flyer, or something that you saw, ironically, something that you saw on an email, something that you saw on a shop front, something that you saw on a billboard, okay, and you wanted to find out more information. Did they have a website? Okay, chances are almost always yes, because people know these days if they don't have a website, they don't exist. Now, this is crazy, and I know how it sounds, but it is simply the fact that if you cannot see this information about somebody, you can't see that credible proof that actually they do exist. Okay, now furthermore, let's take it another step. Let's say not only do they exist, are they trustworthy? Are they reliable? It's much more difficult to trust somebody that doesn't have a website, because you say, well, why don't they have a web presence? That's so common these days that it's almost an expectation from us that they would have that. So if they don't have that, am I going to start to ask questions about their credibility, about who they are? Okay, so a business without a website doesn't exist in the eye of many. Okay, now the unfortunate truth of this is, if you want to make an impact, you need to make sure that you have a website. Okay, now this I'm telling you because we're looking at today's modern world of digital marketing and what that means to us. All right, so digital marketing connects people with opportunities they may have never seen before. Okay, think about when you're browsing on your search engines. Okay, Google, Bing. YouTube. Think about when you're advertising on Facebook. Think about when you're looking at other variations of marketing. Okay. It is very much so that we're being introduced to things that we didn't know had actually happened before. Okay. That we didn't know existed before. Now, digital marketing connects people with opportunities they may have never seen before because it enters your life. And again, some people can find this almost borderline intrusive. Okay. Google is intelligent. Facebook is intelligent. They know what you're doing when you're doing it, as long as you're using one of their platforms. Now, Google has lots and lots of permissions to see what websites you visit. Okay. Now, using this as an easy and specific example, we're looking at the fact that when you Google something on a website and it comes through, okay, you're then advertised to after to tell you perhaps about an offer that that website may have. Okay, it's an opportunity that you may have never seen before. Perhaps you're browsing on YouTube and you see an advert for the perfect job for your career. Okay, now, of course, we are here in the career of digital marketing, but this is a great example for others. Okay, this is a way that it brings them into the space, into the world they didn't know was there. Okay, digital marketing connects people with opportunities they may have never seen before. And this is why digital marketing is so impactful in today's age, because it is so intelligent. It understands so much that it introduces us to concepts, things, realities that we didn't even know were there, that we didn't know existed. Okay, back barely a decade ago, perhaps just over, again, you would have had to go to the travel agent and pick up a physical brochure to see lots of places that you wanted to travel. Okay, now you have paid advertising in Airbnb. You can see every single type of accommodation in every single corner of the world nearly, okay, at a touch of your fingertips. Hey, we're looking to go to somewhere in the other hemisphere, in the southern hemisphere, okay, we're up in the northern hemisphere. But let's say you wanted to travel to the southern hemisphere. You pick a country, you go on Airbnb, booking.com, any of the big digital marketing engines, big digital booking engines, and you say, hey, this is where I want to go, and this is the type of accommodation I would like, and bing, there's your answer. Okay, so digital marketing connects people with opportunities they may have never seen before. Okay, so here's our example again. Airbnb allows people to search for accommodation worldwide at the click of a button. Okay, 20 years ago, this was not as simple. This just was not a thing. If you wanted to go somewhere, do something, you very, very likely had to make a lot of phone calls, see a lot of people, and go through a lot of various organizations to make this happen. Okay, the world is being connected like we have never before seen. Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment now to jot down any notes that you might have and indeed ask any questions. Please fire away. It's always a pleasure to answer them for you. Okay. Wonderful. So hopefully you've had a chance now to jot down the notes. Thank you for that question. I'll get that at the end in the Q&A session for you there. Okay, so topic number 2, skill has nothing to do with age. All right, so let's talk about this one, okay? It's one of the biggest reasons that we're here today. Digital skills are available in multiple educational formats. Okay, so one of the biggest things that students of any kind struggle with is trying to absorb information in a way that's not necessarily suited to them. Okay, now this is why the conventional regimen, sometimes the traditional schooling system, university, college, further education, this is why some are deeming this not to be appropriate anymore. Okay, that's why there's online learning coming through. That's why there are specialist learning programs coming through, because we need to be aware that it's not always necessarily that the person can't or doesn't want to receive the information. Sometimes it's the way that it's being put across. Okay, so often we're scared of what we don't know. So if you've never picked up a telephone before, it's going to be a little bit intimidating until you know how to use it. But with our younger generations, that's why they find it naturally easier to use something like an iPhone, because it's been part of their life for their entire life. And that's why mature generations understand concepts, all the versions of telephones, mail marketing, all older forms of organic traditional marketing that the younger generations won't understand. Okay, there are things that we can all learn from each other, but digital skills specifically are necessary if you want to thrive in today's digital marketing world. And they are available in multiple educational formats. You can learn one-to-one with a mentor, coach, guide, tutor. You can learn online. You can look at websites. You can watch videos. You can download PDFs. You can look at books online. Okay, you can pick up a paper book. You can read. You can listen to audio files. You can download podcasts. You can do so many different things. You can do online courses. There's so many different ways to learn. Okay, even discussing some free options there. You've got YouTube, which has an enormous, almost incalculable volume of videos. on various topics. Okay, so in today's age, there really is no excuse for saying, actually, I can't learn it. Okay, because there are so many different ways and multiple educational formats that can show you what you need to know. Okay, so you can learn digital skills whether you've just left school or you're in the mature stages of your career. Okay, it is never too late as long as you are able, adapt, and versatile. You're willing to adapt, sorry, and you can get on board with new concepts. You have an open mind, you're willing to learn. You can absolutely absorb these digital skills. And whether you just left school and your confidence is a little bit knocked, okay, and you think, oh, well, I'm actually too young, nobody's going to take me seriously. Okay, I would like to encourage you to have belief in yourself, belief in your skill, belief in your ability, your educational system, your educational format that you give to yourself. If you give yourself a good work ethic, you work on your confidence, speaking to others and developing business skills, you absolutely can do it. Now, speaking from personal experience here, to me, when I'm dealing with somebody in business, age to me is irrelevant. I care about the attitude. We look at the skill, we look at the amount of information that they understand and can acknowledge and can then progress on. Okay, that is what's important. Skill has nothing to do with age. Many of us have different skills, even the most basic of life skills, like learning how to speak. Okay, everybody within reason knows how to speak. Everybody within reason has learned various basic skills as children, in the middle parts of their career, and then the more mature parts of their career and in life. Okay, now different skills, speaking to people, okay, picking this up in their career, understanding people, picking this up in their career or their personal life, ability to handle relationships, how to manage and grow with them, okay, cooking, cleaning, basic skills that most adults have, okay, and most younger people have now as well. So you can learn skills at any age. Digital skills are not any different. Okay, so digital marketing is the battle of the sharpest and the most well educated. Okay, this is something that I will tell you for an absolute fact. The digital world, like many other industries, like many other business formats, is competitive, and it's all about who is trying the hardest, who is keeping themselves most up to date, and who cares the most. Okay, who takes care of their clients the best, who's up to date with the information the most. Okay, now anybody that is able to read and understand information can look at a daily digital marketing newsletter to see what the most recent developments are. Anybody can put aside 20 minutes of their day for that. Okay, digital marketing is the battle of the sharpest and the most well educated. If you want to thrive, not just in digital marketing, in any business, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. Okay, now what that means is staying on top of your game, making sure that you're staying educated, you're staying knowledgeable, and you're staying kind, connected, and well thought out when you deal with your clients and those around you. Okay, limiting self-beliefs are the only thing stopping you from learning new skills. Okay, if you tell yourself that you can't do something, you tell yourself that you're not going to be able to learn something, then guess what? You're not going to do it. Okay, our mind can be our biggest enemy sometimes. If you're sitting there listening to this webinar saying to yourself, Ben, I hear what you're saying, it just isn't for me, I just can't do it. I'm not saying that. Nobody else is saying that. It's yourself telling yourself that you cannot do it. Now, you are the only person that matters in this scenario. You're the only person that's relevant. And if you sit there and you tell yourself that you can't do it, there is nothing that you're going to be able to do if your own mind is limiting you from doing it. Okay, let's flip the script. Sit there, tell yourself, I am capable, I'm confident, I can do it. Look at how your mindset begins to change. Look at how much better you absorb information. You're sitting there giving yourself a pat on the back for reading things that you haven't read before, for absorbing things that you haven't absorbed before. Okay, watch how your mind opens up. Watch how your mind becomes your friend, okay, and helps you learn these things. All right, so we're going to take a moment now before we move on to topic number 3, the third and final session or topic of today's session. Okay, now please do go ahead and jot down any notes that you might have, and indeed feel free to ask any questions before we move on to topic number 3 for today. Okay. Fantastic. So hopefully you've had a chance now to do that, and we're going to dive on to the third and final topic of today's session, which is life experience plays a role in business. Okay, of course it does. It has a big part, a very, very prevalent role. Okay, so life experience plays a role in business. Now, prospective clients connect with mature and empathetic business owners. Now, once again, we're not going to connect here maturity and age. Okay, there are many life skills that can be learned and picked up: the ability to speak to people with respect, the ability to understand people, the ability to connect with others. Okay, this is not something that is developed with age. It is likely something that will be picked up throughout childhood and the skills that you learn. And if you do not have the privilege of this, then the skills that you choose to learn yourself. It does not take much to be kind. It does not take much to be friendly. It does not take much to elevate yourself to a mature level where you can empathize with others. Okay, so prospective clients connect with mature and empathetic business owners. This is something I can tell you from firsthand experience, single-hand experience, okay? That firsthand, I have seen so many times that the people that connect the best, the people that connect the most with prospective clients are the ones who are respectful, they are kind, they are informative, and they're ready to get the job done, and they're ready to deliver for the client at hand. Okay, these types of people see success going forward in their lives because of their attitude, because of the people skills that they have, and because of the ability to connect with others. Okay, one of the biggest parts of business as a whole is the ability to connect with other people. Okay, trustworthiness is a key factor in encouraging prospect conversion. Okay, a prospect is not going to convert with you if they don't trust you. Okay, so life experience is incredibly relevant when it comes to understanding certain things, but whether we get that experience at a young age, whether we get that experience at a middle or mature age, that's completely dependent on the type of lives that we have and what we choose to learn. Okay, but life experience, of course, always plays a role in business, but it's up to you how you choose to get that experience. Okay, now just because you're 19 years old doesn't mean that you haven't got more life experience in certain areas than somebody who's 40. And just because you're 60 doesn't mean that your life experience is irrelevant. Okay, love what you have done for yourself and love how you can connect that into business. Trustworthiness is a key factor in encouraging prospect conversion. This is very simply put because if somebody does not trust you, they will not give you any of their money. Now, the only reason a prospect becomes a client in the eyes of a business is so that we can start making some money. Okay, everybody is in business for the same ultimate reason, because we must survive financially. Okay, now some of us choose to thrive, some of us choose to do other benevolent causes, things like that. Okay, but ultimately the goal of every business is the same. We need income, even if it's a non-for-profit. Okay, so trustworthiness is a key factor in encouraging prospect conversion. Understanding your prospect is a skill in itself. The ability to connect directly with someone will inevitably assist your sale. Okay, now this is something that does come from life experience. This is something that you can look at yourself. Okay, and this isn't even necessarily a business skill. Understanding your prospect is the same as understanding a person. Okay, this is a skill in itself. It's one that can be learned. It's one that some of us have naturally. Okay, but the ability to connect directly with someone will inevitably assist your sale. Why? Because if you can connect with them, you're understanding how they're thinking. In order to sell things, most of the time, you need to understand what's going on in their mind. It helps you overcome obstacles. It helps you understand what they're thinking. It helps you understand what's going to come out of their mouth next so that you can already prepare a response. Okay, so understanding your prospect is a skill in itself. The ability to connect directly with someone will inevitably assist your sale or whatever else it is that you're trying to do. Okay, but something that I must reiterate, that life experience becomes invaluable when you can apply it in business scenarios like this. Sometimes the only reason that some of us are closing clients is because we have this incredible ability to connect with people one-on-one. Okay, problems and issues exist in business that you have likely experienced the crossover of in your personal life. Okay, now there are probably countless examples of this. All right, but having a difficult conversation with a client, okay, that's a classic business example. Now, a classic reference to something like this in your personal life could be something along the lines of an argument with somebody that you love. Okay, how have you dealt with that in the past? Did you get anywhere? If you were being aggressive and confrontational, did that improve things? Chances are probably not. Okay, so what did we learn from that? Okay, well, we can't do that. We need to be polite, respectful. We need to hear the other person. That applies in the same business context there. If you're having a difficult conversation with a client, being confrontational is not going to get you anywhere. Okay, I know this isn't accusatory at all. This is simply an explanation and an example of what anybody can do and how you can apply these in different scenarios. Okay, you can also look at problem solving. Okay, having a hard time building a website, don't know how to sort out a specific element, or there's some coding wrong in the website. Okay, Now, an example of this in your personal life is when you were at school. Did you struggle with a problem? When you're at university, was there something that you didn't know how to do? What did you do then? Did you sit there and struggle, or did you go and find out how to fix it? Did you research? Did you speak to somebody who does know how to fix it? Okay. Problems and issues exist in business. You've very likely experienced a crossover of in your personal life. Okay. Now, this is something that I cannot emphasize enough. Life experience is so valuable in business. You'll sometimes meet people that are 18, 19, and you think that they're 30 by the way that they carry themselves. Okay. Because mentally, we do associate maturity with age when that's not strictly true. Okay. If you meet a very, very mature 19-year-old, you think that they're older than they are. And I'm sure that before you've maybe met somebody middle-aged or slightly older that you've actually thought are a lot younger because of the way that they carry themselves. Okay. Life experience, maturity, it's not attached to age. Okay. And for those of you that are in the mature stages of your career, also remember that this is not something that you have to struggle with. This is absolutely a skill that can be learned. You can bring this forward in your career. Okay. So to summarize on today's session, number one, out with the old, in with the new. Okay, traditional forms of marketing are slowly getting less and less impactful, less and less popular. Digital marketing is beginning to grow and thrive in ways that we haven't seen before, and it's continuing to do so year on year. Number two, age should not be a factor in skill development, whether you're 19, whether you're 79. If it's something that you want to do not let your own self-limiting beliefs stop you from doing this. Okay. Number three, life experience matters in business. There are many correlations that you can make between your personal life and that life that you lead in business as well. Okay, so it's been a pleasure presenting today's session to you. We're now going to jump onto the Q&A section. Okay, now just before we do that, as always, I want to give you an enormous thank you for attending today's session. If you would like to talk to a member of our team, you're more than welcome to head over to iob-business.com/talk-to-us, and then you can go ahead and book a call at a time that suits you with us. Okay. So what I'm going to do, whilst I pull your questions up, I'm going to leave this link up on the screen for you there so that you can utilize it. Okay, so questions from today. Awesome. All right. Question number one. If I have virtually no experience in digital marketing, where is the best place to start? Amazing question. Okay, it's something we didn't get a chance to talk about. So here's what you can do. You can visit webinars like these. You can continue learning, developing your skill set here. You can go to Google Digital Garage. That's Google Digital Garage. That's another learning source for everything Google. Okay. You can use Facebook Blueprint. That's Facebook's learning portal. You can go to YouTube, completely free. Okay. As long as you use the free version. And you can look at Udemy. Okay. Now, Udemy is like a library of online courses. All right. They're all fairly low or even zero cost. Okay. None of it's overly expensive. Of course, it depends what you deem expensive, but an Udemy course, I believe, again, don't quote me, but I believe that they start from around about £15. Facebook Blueprint, specialized training, perhaps a little bit more expensive, maybe a few hundred. Okay. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're turning over thousands per year with a digital business, this should be an investment and therefore inconsequential. Okay, but a fantastic question. Thank you for asking. Question number two, I find it hard to learn technological skills. Okay, fantastic. And this is exactly why we do this webinar. So thank you for pointing that out. Okay, now you may find the use of digital technology easier if you incorporate it into your life elsewhere. Okay, so here's a kind of a little bit of a unique answer to this perhaps, but let's say that you try reading on a Kindle instead of a book. All right, so just, you don't need to dive in at the deep end, but just begin to build your familiarity with digital technology, in your day-to-day life. Use a TV well, read your books on a Kindle instead of a paper copy. It's about using technology. Use your laptop or your desktop for things more regularly, okay? Now, take it one small step at a time. Remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay, it's something that you need to develop, a skill that's not going to come to you overnight by any measure. Okay, now many people who are comfortable with technology have had years and years and years of experience using it. Okay, so don't be hard on yourself, but continue to try your best. Another fantastic question. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, let's have a little check here and see if I have any more questions from today, which I don't believe I do. Okay, so as always, a massive, wonderful thank you for attending. I hope that you have a lovely rest of your Wednesday and a brilliant rest of your week. And I very much look forward to seeing you again on the next iOB business webinar. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.